So we were on an
Hello, Stanislav.
Okay, that's the first time I heard you guys, so I don't know if it's on my side or if something's going on. So we're just gonna proceed. What's going on?
let's start with introducing, please, because we made it in another live stream, which was too private.
It's private stream.
Yes.
Okay, okay. So well, let's begin. Let's Today we're gonna talk about the a bunch of stuff about talent visas, about the importance of the major press in the talent visas, and some insights from those petitions from my experience, which I have a lot of. So let's switch to the next slide. So guys, make sure that if you have questions, you do ask them. I'll be looking at them for some clues that may help me to do a better job describing the things that we need to cover. And if for whatever reason we miss a question, which I don't think uh, I don't think it's going to happen, but the moderator is going to keep us on track. So make sure that you do ask those questions because that's the value you can get out of it. Next slide, please. So today, like I said, we're going to be talking mostly about O1 and EB1A visa. However, we may have some sidetrack to EB2 and IW. Uh, Definitely, we're going to be covering the importance of media articles. And let me tell you guys, let me tell you the little story from the very beginning. I just had a client about an hour ago. She came for a complex immigration planning, and she came to me with EB1A visa RFE. What's RFE? Is a request for evidence, meaning that she filed a petition, and immigration officer sent her the RFE to request additional documents, additional paperwork, and things like that. There was a big mess, but something I want to share with you is that that client, that lady, she did not have the major press criterion in her petition. And that's a big, big red flag for me because I do believe that to get a good media coverage is easy, especially if you work with professionals. And the lack of that criterion in the petition could be critical for the entire endeavor, for the entire project. So it says understanding the importance. I think you don't need to understand it. You just need to know it's very important. But more about this on this later. Definitely the role that the major and professional press plays in projects, in your knowledge, in highlighting certain things from the rest of the petitions. We're going to discuss that as well. And we're also going to touch on expert opinion letters and recommendation letters. Just throw it in the mix because not because we isolate those specific letters as something that has to do with the press, but more because I do believe we need to show the importance of those letters and also explain how exactly they work in the petition. So let's move on. All right, let's switch to the next slide because it's all right, guys. What I recommend, of course, I recommend you focus on this webinar, and I know that it's probably going to be posted on YouTube. Maybe some of you record from the screen or making screenshots or you do whatever. 95%, you will never get back to this. Okay, so focus. Don't
That's
think
true.
I'm on the
Yeah.
weekend, I'm gonna get back and rewatch. Not gonna happen. All right, it's not gonna happen. So focus right now. Try to put your time and effort into this because that's when you can get the most value out of it. And what I want you to do is to take notes because certain things I'm going to be talking about, some insights to share with you. You need to write that down because again, you're not getting back to this. That's one, and number two, you're going to forget. All right, so take the notes of the most important things because you will need those notes when you start working on your case. Next slide. And for those of you who's going to be staying with us, and there is no reason in the world you will not, because you're already here and you know that you need to finish this presentation, this webinar, to get the most value out of it. We also prepared a bunch of bonuses for you guys. First of all, PR News are going to do the $100 gift card giveaway. We're gonna let you know at the end how that's gonna happen, and I'm gonna get you two things, two bonuses, which have a lot of value. Number one, you will get a guide, a checklist about immigration to the US on talent visas. And believe me, guys, you will never find anything even close to the quality of that checklist. All right. So make sure you get it at the end.
Mhm.
And bonus number two from my side is the free evaluation of your talent visa case. And you will know more about this at the end of this webinar. Let's move on. And again, like we said before, I do need the questions from you. So if I didn't explain something the way you understood, or maybe I skipped some logical link in explanation in like what's going on here, make sure you write a comment or ask a question so I know how to answer the question better, or maybe how to break down things so they are easier to understand, because there's a lot of complex things here. So don't be shy. There is no stupid questions. There is no silly questions. As long as you don't understand something or you want to know more, make sure you proceed with that question, with that comment.
Great.
Next slide. Uh, all right, I can address that. The next one. Okay, something I can talk for a whole hour about
Wow.
myself. Okay, but that's not the main issue, so we're gonna go over it real quick so you guys understand that myself and my company, we do specialize in this type of visas, the talent visas, the national interest waiver projects, which is EB2 and IW visas, and a bunch of others from business and investment standpoint. We are gonna leave that behind the curtain, so we're gonna focus on talent today. So who is Stanislav Shamayev? I'm a founding and a leading attorney in Shamayev Business Law. Shamayev Business Law is a large corporation in the US. We have over 100 employees working in the company within 10 departments. And all these people, we work only for one purpose, to get you an approval. And I'm proud to share with you that we have more than 90% approval rate across all petitions that we file, with certain visas getting the approval chance of 97, 98%. How do we get to that point? Well, we have the processes, we have big teams leading your cases, we have the templates, we have the projects within the company that help our clients. So we do a lot of work to make sure that the process is easy, fast, and efficient. And with these processes, we got more than 2,000 approvals for almost 10 years in American jurisprudence for the clients from more than 50 countries. Okay, let's move on.
Oh, it's our turn.
Sorry, Stanislav.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
it's late for us. So finally, let's introduce ourselves.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's
please
start by
start.
me.
Yeah.
Okay. My name is Alina, and I'm so excited to be a part of this webinar. For the past few years, I spent a significant amount of time working with news media. So this experience in media relation has taught me how to successfully reach out to specific media. So I'm really excited to hear about the media criteria, and maybe I'll share some insights with you. Okay,
If
Anna.
you will behave well. Yeah, and my name is Anna. I'm new business developer in prnews.io, which we represent together, and we cover different parts. I more communicate with customers, with brands and personalities who are interested in um, getting media coverage for themselves, and Alina communicates with publishers. So we are like a perfect match to give you like a whole picture of how our platform works, how it could be handy in terms of getting media coverage, and you've got tons of experience to recommend you what
Mhm.
media would be the best, why, and how to proceed with it without any hassle, because the product we represent is just perfect for doing this. So let's proceed with the life hacks. I'm pretty thrilled as well to hear about it, because it's one of our favorite topics. So just let's continue.
Okay, yes, Alina, Anna, and again, thank you for inviting me to this webinar. I think it's a perfect match of PR agencies and attorneys, because we cannot do without you, I mean, the clients cannot do without, we can, but the clients cannot, and because the clients cannot, we cannot, right? Because we represent the best interest of the client. So yes, let's proceed to the core topics of today's webinar. And let's start with the O1 talent visa. And the way we're going to go in this presentation from here is we are going to cover first of all, O1 visa, the benefits of it, and then we're going to switch to EB1A visa and more general information about that visa. And only then we're going to switch more towards the more of visa requirements, and more exactly the requirement of the press, of the media coverage. And don't mind me switching back and forth between O1 and EB1A, because the criteria are almost the same. The difference is in the concept of the visa. Um, so let's talk about O1, which is a non-immigrant talent visa, and you may call it extraordinary talent visa or just a talent visa. It does really change the essence of it. O1 visa requires three criteria to be satisfied. And mind that there are two types of O1 visa, O1A and O1B. And they cover different type of talents. For example, O1B covers talents in movies, in TV, and in art. So it has a special category. And O1A covers the business, the science, the education, and sport. So if you're from art or content creation, from movies and this kind of stuff, or maybe you're a blogger or social media influencer, O1B is the better choice for you, and O1A covers the rest. And that's number one thing to understand. Number two, that O1 visa requires an employer in the US, meaning that there must be a company in the US that will provide you a job offer and will sign your petition. Who can be that company? So first of all, that could be just any company in the US that wants to see your talent within their format. However, many times in my career, we had opened a company on our clients, and that company served as an employer for the same client. So basically, you can become an employer to yourself. So that's the solution we provide mostly to businessmen and IT clients. However, that could be used pretty much for anything. Like today, we got an approval for our fitness trainer from Russia, and she had her employer, her own company, on the base of which she will be providing her fitness instructions to the clients. O1 visa, O1A has 8 criteria, O1B has 6 criteria. And we need to satisfy at least 3 of them to get an approval. However, I like to file at least 5 criteria for O1A visa and at least 4 criteria for O1B. Why? Well, because if the immigration officer does not like one criterion, maybe he's not happy with it, then he has others to make sure that we get approval based on at least 3 other criteria. Also, O1 visa is good for 3 years, and it could be extended for 1 year indefinitely. And also, you'll be able to bring the members of your family. Who is your family? Your family is you, your spouse, and your children under 21 years old who are not married. And your children will be able to go to American public school for free, so you don't have to pay for their education. I do believe that's the only downside of O1 visa is that the spouse cannot work. Okay, so the spouse and the kids get O3 visa, and that does not allow to get the work permit and work in the US. So you need to consider that in order to understand if that's the best solution for you. Okay, so let's switch to the O1 benefits. I think I talked about this slide, so let's, yeah. What are the benefits besides the one downside of this visa? Well, first of all, you don't have to have meet any limitation on this visa. The US government will approve as many O1s as they get throughout the year. So it's not like H-1B visa that has like some kind of lottery and limitation. It's not like immigrant visas that also have quota for the year, and that could be a limitation for certain people because they want to come yesterday, but they will be coming in a couple of years. So O1 could be a good first step to come to the States and start building up career and your life here. Well, it says it does not require a job offer. That is not true. That's the mistake. And we already discussed this. O1 actually does require a job offer from a US employer. EB1A does not. So keep that in mind. But we already addressed this issue. So 3 years. It's a quick process. So from the time we start working on the O1 visa till the time you enter the United States of America, you can count about 8 months. All right, so 6 months working on the petition and 2 months for the embassy. And of course, there is a premium processing, which makes it faster to get approval. And but mind that all the calculations of 8 months is already based on the premium processing. So that's a part of the calculation. Okay, let's move on. Okay, and the last thing I want to mention about O1 visa is besides everything that I mentioned, that it could be a fast and effective way to come. And by the way, O1 visa in my company has the approval rate is about 98%. So basically out of 100 O1 petitions, will get 98 approved, basically all of them. And that's another good thing because you don't have to provide a lot of extensive paperwork to prove your O1 visa when you compare it to EB1A, because EB1A are big, fat, solid cases with a lot of achievements, a lot of recognition. a lot of recommendation letters. O1 is a little bit on the light side of this process. So it will be much easier to work on O1 A or B visa case and get an approval for that. And oftentimes we file for O1 visa even though we know that the client can get approved for EB1A just because of the speed, how fast we can come to the US. So the way it usually works, we prepare the case as if we're going to file EB1A, but we file O1 case, we get an approval, the client comes to the US, starts working and living here, and then we refile pretty much the same case, get an approval for EB1A, and that would be much faster as compared to the process if you started doing EB1A from the beginning. Okay, yes, it's going to be more expensive, but that's going to be faster, and for some of our clients, the speed plays a significant role. And again, we made a separate slide for the like benefits of EB1A, but you guys know it. There's one huge benefit. It's a green card. Okay, it's a green card for you and your family. And family is the same as for O1. It's the spouse and the kids below 21 years old who are not married, right? So you can work, you can live, you can travel, and most importantly, you started the countdown to your American citizenship, and that will be able you will be able to get that in approximately 5 years after you get your permanent resident status, which is a 10-year green card. And you know, that's all we're aiming for: the green card and then the citizenship. Okay, let's
So may I
move.
interrupt you a bit? I'm not sure that you uh, uh, that it is okay to ask question right now, but if you're gonna tell us about the pricing, because you tell that AB1A visa is more expensive, and I'm pretty curious why. What is included in price, and how it even
Why it's more
yeah
expensive?
Sure.
will
Yeah.
you cover it
So
later?
yeah, let's discuss this. And you know, I love this kind of questions
Yeah, me
um,
too.
because we have a transparent monetary policy in the company. We do not hide our prices. We're actually proud of our prices because I think
Oh,
they are too low for the quality of the product that the clients get. So
taking note.
we charge I charge $13,000 for EB1A case. That's called the complete filing of the petition, meaning that amount of money is enough to prepare the whole case and
Mhm.
file it and get an approval with a chance of more than 90%. And you know, what the client gets for this price? Well, a client gets a lot. First of all, he gets the full team of professionals leading his or her case. And that's usually at least 5 people who are attached to the case and who are working on the paperwork. And of course, one of them is myself, the licensed attorney in the US. Also, the client gets a strategy of the case, which is build a way to start the case and completely finish it within 6 months. Okay, so 5 months we get the evidentiary base, and 1 month is for me to write a memorandum. And memorandum is a document that could be up to 150 pages. I usually have a limit, not more than one. We can do more, but you know, the officers cannot handle that. So we usually make it about 150 pages, and that's basically the document that describes the entire evidentiary base that we built within the first 5 months. Also, there is a clear communication. We communicate through the group in Telegram chat. So anytime a client has a question, he or she can shoot it in a messenger and get an answer within 24 hours, but in most of the cases right away. Okay, but it could take a little bit in case if it's late night or something like that. Also, we have a lot of templates. we have a lot of examples of the documents for the client to use. We have 4-step verification of each document, meaning that each document is going through at least 4 people who check on the correctness, on the content of the document. So at the end, with all the documents been through so many checks and reviews that they are shining like a diamond in the sun.
Cool.
So uh, and that's the basics. And of course, there's more. But the webinar is not about our services. The webinar is about the
They are.
O1 and media. So I highlighted certain things. We have additional projects in our company, like Project Neo, which means that because we have about 250 clients at every minute as we work in the company,
Mhm.
we break them down by the talent or the field, and we find the match for our clients with other clients, and they exchange the expert opinion letters. And we're
Wow.
gonna talk more about it later, how important those letters are. But that's what we do for our clients within the company, which no one else is doing. Okay, so we actually working hard to make it easier and a better experience for our clients to go through.
Mhm.
O1 visa is $11,000. The same thing as EB1A, same type of services. Why the difference in price? Criteria is the same. Why the criteria the pricing is different? Well, it's different just because I kind of already explained it before. Because the yes, the criteria is the same, the law is the same, but application of that law is completely different.
Mhm.
Yeah, the case that is approved for O1 visa does not that doesn't mean that it's going to get approved for EB1A.
Mhm.
Why? Because EB1A is a very high standard visa. First of all, we need more criteria. Second of all, we need a more prestigious criteria for all for the whole petition, and that means more work, more expert letters, more recommendation letters, more documents to fill and check. So it's just more work. The case for O1 could be this big. The case for EB1B could be this big. EB1A. So that's why that's why the difference. It's a lot more work. In other words. Um,
Okay, thanks a lot for provided info. It was super curious for me to know it. And actually, I should say that you're doing a great job in creating a community of people who are trying to apply for visa and get it. So thank you a lot of, as I should say. Okay, let's proceed further since I just saw we are out of time in a bit. So
yeah,
let's.
let's proceed to the criteria. Let's discuss the criteria a little bit, and that's when we start talking more about the press. And again, this webinar is not about how to satisfy all the criteria for EB1 or O1, but we're going to be focusing more on media, and through media cover the rest of the criteria, and you will see the connection between these two. So, like I said before, EB1A has 10 criteria. O1A has 8 criteria. O1B has 6 criteria. But in all of them, the media coverage, the press, the major media, the professional press is present. So it's present in all talent visas, and oftentimes we use press for the purpose of EB2 national interest waiver visa. Why? Well, because the media is a universal tool, not only to satisfy one full criterion in a talent visa or EB2 NIW visa, but also to patch the holes in other criteria. For example, someone has a contribution in the field, and that contribution is, let's say, the use of a patent. Someone created a patent and it's being used in the industry, and we do not have enough evidence to show the significance of the use of that patent in the industry. So what we can do is to insert those pieces of information in the media and articles where journalists can can do a research on this patent, uh, talk about this with the client in the article, ask questions, and fully develop the meaning of that patent for the industry. So that way, not only we satisfy the media criterion because we have articles about our client, but also we make the contribution in the field stronger. Okay, so that's just one example out of a million that I can make. For example, last week we got an approval for EB1A visa for our IT client, and we have an extensive experience with the STEM category and IT and engineers and doctors and people from STEM. And we had a similar problem. He had some open source code that was used in the industry. We had a lot of downloads, but we couldn't really show like what kind of good or benefit it meant for the industry. So the journalist who was covering this issue, she did her own research. She talked to those companies who use that open source code, and she inserted that information in the article, and that just looked beautiful. So we basically satisfied two criteria with one media article. Um, and it has to do with everything else, with awards, with recommendation letters. So the media, the press can underline specific or emphasize certain pieces of information that I need in a memorandum in the final paper to make the case much stronger.
May I ask
So
how many
yes.
recommendations should be for AB1A?
Good question. So let's talk about numbers, because we also need to know about how many media articles we need to have in the petition, right? It's also very important. So as to the recommendations, I require 15 recommendation slash expert opinion letters. Okay.
Mhm.
And it's also important to understand that to know exactly what's going to be in the recommendation letters or experts opinion letters, we need to see the entire case, because the letters do not exist separately from the case. Basically it's all coming together, and it's all big mix, but it's all about the talent of our client. So 15 letters usually do the work. However, sometimes if a client brings more letters, of course we'll take more. We cannot take less, or we resilient to take less unless they're really high quality. And let's say if the letters coming from our Neo project in the company, those are the top-notch quality letters. Okay, so if we have that kind of quality for the rest of the recommendation letters, and we can get up to 4 of those letters within the company, then yes, we can use less, just because of the depth and the quality of the other ones. As to the number of the articles in the press, and guys, don't mix up the scientific articles and media articles, because the media articles, they are about us, about the clients, about our talent, and things like that. The scientific academic publications or articles, they our work, we write them, we are the authors. Okay, and those are two separate criteria in the petition. So that's because I see sometimes people don't understand, but that's why I'm emphasizing this right now. As to the number of the articles about us, and we're talking about the press about us,
News
I
media.
do, I do require at least 4 for EB1A, 4 to 5, and 3 to 4 for O1 visa. Okay, so when you guys working on your petitions, make sure you put that in your a checklist that you need to provide at least 4 for EB1A and at least 3 for O1. But it's always the good have, the more the better. That's the easy mantra that I can tell you every day, all day. The more the better. If you give me 5 or 6 articles, that's good. Um, And let's stop here for a second. Uh, what other requirements do we have for media? And let's talk about that, because not all media satisfies the immigration law, the immigration criterion. And what we need, first of all, we need the title of the article. So we have the name for the article. Maybe I can count on my fingers how many times I've seen articles without the names. It's possible, but usually it's non-existent, very rare. Number two, more often I see that mistake. There is no date. Okay, and the date should include at least month and a year, but the best to get also
So
the
the
date.
long period of articles, like the timeline of articles should be at least a year.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the format of the article. It should have the title at the top, and it should have the date when exactly it was published. Okay, the exact date when it was published. And the third requirement for the article is the one that I see across the board almost every day is no author. If there is no author in the article, it's out of the picture. It's not going to be taken. Okay, so make sure that when you have a written article about you in the press, there is the name of the journalist, of the author who actually wrote that article. That's so common. I see it, like I said, almost every day. And make sure you guys remember it, put it in your notes. Further, we need to have the coverage in either the national, the big news outlets in your country. So, what are the big outlets? Well, go to the statistics for the news visitors and get like top 20 websites, top 20 newspapers, magazines, whatever they are, the general news, whatever they cover, the politics, everything. So those will fit most likely. And the second category is professional press, meaning that only people from that profession, or mostly people from that profession, are the readers of those articles, of those publications. Okay, and here it doesn't really matter the number of visitors for the website, and usually it's a website. I rarely see like the actual like a newspaper. Paper doesn't really exist unless it's coming from like 10 years ago. So now it's all online, mostly websites. So website visitations is important for the national press, but doesn't matter for the professional. What matters for the professional is who's the reader. Who's the reader? Okay, and if the reader is in the profession, that's good. We can publish there too.
May I interrupt you a bit, because just a case from my timeline, let's say, often lawyers and applicants, they hesitating if it would be native enough when they are not such a significant person for a broad audience, and like top media are posting articles about them. Is it like relevant? What do you think?
I think what really relevant is that the article in the newspaper or the professional magazine or journal must be about the client or his or her project. The fact that they are not known, like they're not celebrity, or it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter, because the fact that the newspaper is writing about this particular person means that there is something significant about that person. Maybe the career, maybe the employer, maybe the projects, maybe the mythology, maybe the book, maybe whatever that is. Okay, maybe they have a lot of the awards or conferences, which makes them people with high recognition in their particular field. So that could be the topic of the article, making them kind of significant for the purpose of article, and it doesn't really matter that the general population does not know about this person. So that's not the criteria. So the article must be about the the client and his or her work or projects. That's the most important. Um, there's more to this, but again, because we have a limitation on the time, as long as you guys know what I'm mentioning right now, you are 90% prepared to satisfy this criterion. Okay.
Okay,
Uh,
let's just check maybe other criteria because like there's so much to tell about. And yeah,
let's go to the next slide. And again, I'm going to cover those criteria briefly because we can spend an hour on each one of them and
Yeah.
explaining. But
we'll go
that's
back to the media criteria
Yeah.
later.
yeah, that's not the purpose of today's webinar. We make separate webinars where we go deep in each criteria. All right, judging. You guys need to judge the work of other professionals. And yes, it says a member of a panel of experts judging the work of others, meaning that there's some competition and you're being called as a judge and you look at the work and you make your conclusions, you assess the work, and people win something or they don't win. So that's the classic way for judging. However, if you do the review of academic publications, if you are on editorial board of some journal, some commission in university, maybe for the purpose of publications or dissertations or some kind of other work, or you even may be called as an auditor, as an independent auditor of other professionals, even within your own company. That also is judging the work of other professionals. You may be the one picking who is going to talk at the conference. Okay, that's also the judging of the work of others, other professionals. So there's a lot of flexibility for this criterion, and for the purpose of EB1A visa, I want, like I said, I want 6 criteria that makes a strong case for EB1A. And the recipe is very, very easy for me. That's the media. Okay, that's number 1. The scientific academic publications, that's number 2. Critical leading role in a company with a high reputation, number 3. Income, number 4. Then 2 out of the 3. Okay, so we have 4 and we need 2 more, but those 2 come out of the 3. So awards, judging, and contribution to industry. I want 2 out of the 3 in any combination. So it could be judging and awards, it could be judging and contribution, could be contribution and awards. So if all of them, great, we'll take it. And associations, it's the one of the rarest criterion to satisfy, just because there are no associations that can satisfy this criteria. Or if they exist, it's really hard to become a member of them. So it's rare that we use that criterion, although sometimes we do. Like the case I was describing recently, EB1A for IT person, we use the association for that particular petition. I already kind of talked about contribution to the. It's actually, there is a mistake here. So it's not contribution to the industry. And I always make a lot of trainings for my teams on that particular thing. Just imagine the whole training, like 40 minutes on one particular thing, not to the industry, but in the industry. Okay, and why I'm making those trainings? Because for those of you guys who either speak English fluently and already understand the difference between to and in, or if you're a native speaker, you know it as it is, right? Because to the industry means that to the entire industry, but that's not what the law says. The law says in the industry, so within the industry, and that could be maybe a side, maybe a segment of the industry, so lower requirement. And why I emphasize that? Well, because immigration officers don't know the difference either. And if they require you to prove the contribution to the industry, they want you to provide a lot of evidence. But we have to only provide contribution in the industry, which is better for our clients. And of course, we'll always fight for between two in with the immigration officers. So very, very important. And anything could be contribution as long as it's innovative, it's new, and it's significant. It's significant for the industry. It's being used. It's being monetized. So people getting licensed to use that, or it just played some role in that particular side of industry that we talk about in our petitions. And of course, commercial success is very important as long as we can show 20 to 30% more income than other professionals in this field in the geographical location. So let's say there is John from Argentina, and he's an IT person, he's a coder, and he makes $1,500 a month, and an average IT person in the same city in Argentina makes $1,000 a month. We can show that we have a commercial success. Okay, we already talked about this a little bit. Expert opinion letters. Guys, cannot emphasize how important expert opinion letter. And yes, it's a recommendation letter, but the difference between a recommendation letter and an expert opinion letters is actually huge for those who understand that difference. And the expert opinion letter is very heavy evidence for the purpose of proving anything in the petition. Why? Because if the expert opinion letter satisfies and complies with all the evidentiary federal rules in the US, that means that the immigration officer cannot substitute the opinion of the expert without any significant proof that that opinion is wrong. So imagine the immigration officer opens up an expert opinion letter that talks about this kind of patent and the use and the significance of it in the industry. He reads this letter and he doesn't believe it. He's like, well, it's a good letter, but I don't think it's true.
That's what I'm talking about. Articles on huge media. It's not. It is a bit suspicious.
Right. So so we can make always stronger any expert opinion letter with the article in the press and say, hey, not only there's like expert opinion letters, but there's like article and then it's talking about the same patent. And what we need for a good result of those petitions is so-called corroborating evidence. Guys, remember that the phrase corroborating evidence. What it means? It means that one piece of fact needs to be proven from at least 2 or 3 sources. So the more sources of proof we have for one fact, there's no way the immigration officer can go against that. Okay, so we have a very powerful expert opinion letter in this hypothesis for the patent. We have the article in the press talking about the same patent, and maybe we have a publication in a scientific journal talking about the same patent. That's it. Even if the immigration office is like, I don't believe it, it's BS, he cannot do nothing by law because we proved it by preponderance of evidence. And by preponderance of evidence, meaning 50% and a feather and a little bit sand on top of it. Same way the recommendation letters, they are also kind of expert letters, but maybe they could be a lower evidentiary weight because a lot of time recommendation letters come from people who know the client, maybe employees, maybe employer, maybe the clients that he or she worked with. So not that it's a bad thing, but it a little bit lowers the credibility of those letters because there's subjective factor, the emotional factor involved. And the expert opinion letters usually either lack that subjectivity, or for example, if they're coming from our NEO program, they are absolutely objective. So people don't know you. The letters, the opinions based on what they see in the petition. But yes, recommendation letters, we still need them. And they are part of those 15 recommendation letters that we use for our petitions. Okay, I think we already touched on a lot of
Mhm.
points why media is important. And guys, let me tell you this: we filed, I don't know how many hundreds of the petitions over the years, many hundreds of the petitions, and I can count. Maybe I can remember from the top of my head maybe two petitions out of those hundreds that we did not use the media.
Mm.
Okay, and
What?
why? Well, I already explained why, because it's so important. It's so important because it satisfies at least one criterion fully. That's the media, and also it patches the holes or make stronger other criteria, or make the subjective perception of the media of the petition better.
No, no, no. I was surprised that you find some cases where you didn't use media coverage. That's why I asked why. How?
Well, I can tell you why. I can tell you why. Well, both of those petitions were surprisingly about artificial intelligence,
Hmm.
and those clients, they were just the top, like the
Yeah.
top of the field.
Hmm.
They The other criteria, like they have dissertations, they have a lot of awards, they have a lot of judging of others, the boards, and they work with the government, and they were internationally recognized. So they did not need any media. Okay,
Hmm.
so because
Anymore, probably. I
anymore you could,
believe that
yeah,
they
you could google the name, and it just pops up immediately, like people in that area, they know those people, like right off the bat. So and again, I still, even I told them, look guys, I still would love to see the media in your case, but it's not critical.
Mhm.
So they trusted my opinion, they didn't use it, we got them approved.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got a question
I
from
see the
Natalia.
question. So Natalia is asking, while I renew the O1 visa case after 3 years, do I need to make the new fresh placement in media? Um, you don't have to, Natalia. You don't have to. Basically, it's a light process of extension of your petition, because you get only 1 year extension after 3 years. It's indefinite, but that's what it is. And you can do this, but you don't have to.
Just keep yourself in online.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, but let me tell you this, guys. For my more than 10 years of experience in American jurisprudence, um, I've done maybe a handful of O1 renewals after 3 years. Why? Well, because the way we build the strategy for our client is, even though we file for O1, we build a strategy for him or her to get EB1 within these 3 years a window. So that's why we work on the petition that way. That after O1 approval, we start preparing EB1A, and we file EB1A, we get it approved, so we don't have to use O1 extensions.
Okay.
Okay,
actually,
so
So,
uh,
media.
right. So let's talk about the types of the media publications, and of course, the ones that you guys see on the screen. If you get published, if you have articles in those in that media, it's good. It's very good.
mm,
Definitely Forbes, Bloomberg. You could add Yahoo Finance to this. CoinDesk for cryptocurrencies experts. We actually had two approvals. One recent with the cryptocurrency analyst people. Very hard petitions because there is no. It's so young. There's nothing to compare it to, but we managed to get them approved. Definitely Reuters. I hope I pronounced that right. They are
mhm.
huge outlets. If you get the articles in it, it's good. Cosmopolitan, GQ, Vogue, Elle, they're good for beauty industry. We have a lot of cases in beauty industry. The permanent makeup masters, the manicure masters, the colorists, the stylists, the barbers. So we get them a lot of approvals. Bloomberg, the Economist, Forbes, Entrepreneur. They're really good for business, IT. and finance. And sport, of course, is good for sport. So most, if not all, of these things that you see on the screen, they will satisfy the criterion of media.
Stanislav, we have some question from people that interested how to get media coverage. So here's the question: as a non-artist, how to get media coverage for your work?
Well, I guess, I guess it's like
For
it's a very difficult question because,
Don't
but I
be
have an
very
answer. I have an answer to this. You guys come to PR News and talk to them.
us. Hello.
Yes, I. That's what it is. Or if I think that's the shortcut for this thing to happen. And guys, don't think that if you work with PR agency, it's some kind of like gray area or it's something maybe illegal. Not at all. Not at all. Because the PR agencies, what they do is they kind of a middleman between you and journalists who are potentially interested in your project, in your work, in something that you've done. So they kind of lobby your interest with the publishers. Okay, there is nothing wrong with it. So definitely, that's the easiest way to get media coverage is to work with a PR agency who's gonna lobby your interest with the publishers. If you want to go the long route, well, get international awards, get national awards, go to the conferences, start being visible, write articles, participate in the events, and then people will notice you. And it's a longer way, but you can get media coverage that way as well. Also, some of our clients, they contact directly the publishers. It's like, hey, that's who I am. I have this kind of project. You guys, do you want to get me covered on your newspaper website? I think that's the hardest way to do. So,
But because I just wanted to add that there is a PR news that made to save your time, and you can just use our impressive network, over 100,000 media, so we can help you to get published whenever you
there you
want.
go. There you go. I think that's a good question, but it goes to the essence of our discussion today.
Okay, we have another question. There is an opinion that media publication in different countries are better than I think, in other country. Can you comment on this?
Yes, it's also a very good question. The answer to this question actually lies within the strategy of a particular case, because uh, uh, it definitely it is definitely good to have media coverage in more than one country as long as it makes sense for the petition. Why? Well, because if we're famous in Spain and our work is in Spain and we have recognition in Spain, and out of blue we have media coverage in Egypt or Brazil, like for no with no apparent connection, that's a little bit weird. Okay, I'm not saying that it's not going to be accepted by the immigration officer, but we want to make sure that the whole petition actually makes sense. So same with the entire petition, and same with each particular criterion, including the media coverage. So in short answer is yes, it looks good in your petition as long as it's logical why this country, the newspapers of this country want to write about you.
Okay, thank you. We have another question. Does the immigration officer Googles about the applicant, or they just the applicant just brings the printed screenshot and it works?
Well, very good question. Most of the time, they do not. However, 1 out of 10, 1 out of 10 will do this. They will Google, they will go to LinkedIn, and I hope you guys writing this down because it's like little hints, LinkedIn profile. So they can Google you, and they can one of the recent insights that we have. One of the immigration officers, he actually went to the Google Scholar to check if the academic scientific publications are actually registered there, and they were not, because there's no requirement for people to do this. But he was like, I didn't find it. And we're like, well, okay, let's register it there, so he could find it. So that means that they do check, and they do check the links. They do check sometimes the Google, the websites, the LinkedIn, the social media profiles.
Mhm.
It does not happen often, but because it does happen sometimes, definitely everything that they could check or potentially check should look in compliance with the strategy of the petition. So it shouldn't have something that's beyond or contradicts the petition. So the immigration officer does not start asking questions.
Mhm. Sure. And remember that the internet remembers everything. But
Yes.
yeah.
And if the question was regarding the media, specifically the media, like if he checks the actual article online, I've seen RFEs like that, that they address that issue, but it's not common. It's not common, and I think it's not common because the links are so long, and
Yeah,
you have to spend time to input that data.
that's true. They need to read out 100,000 of
Yeah.
pages of these
Yeah.
petitions and then Google. Okay, apparently not. So let's proceed to next slide. Is it? Mhm. Could you comment on this?
Your visa cases?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. I'm a publicist with 9 years of experience and have had 201 visas, and I'm in the process of my third. Does it matter if there's published material in professional or major trade
Part of
publication?
your presentation.
Uh, uh, which list?
It's just a success story, let's say, and let's.
It's yes, it's a success story. So
Happy.
I can read it out loud, but you guys can just screenshot it and read it at your convenience.
Mhm. Okay.
Okay, let's get down to presents, and let's actually switch to the next slide, where we can show how to get the at least two presents from my side, from my corporation, and you guys have to take those presents. It's not that you will or you will not. You have to take them. First of all, make sure that you get a free evaluation from me. That's the first QR code. So what you need to do is to open the QR code, the link, and fill out the form that I prepared for you guys. And within 48 hours, once you submit your application, I will check that, will get back to you and make the initial qualification of your case absolutely free. Basically, I will tell you which visa is good for you, which criteria we satisfy, and which we need to work on, and if you have a potential. And other attorneys call it a consultation, and want you like $300, $400, $500 we do it for free. And the second one is the okay. I'm not sure if the okay. So the second one is a WhatsApp link. So the first one is a free evaluation. The second one is the WhatsApp link to get connected with my company. So if you take a picture of that, it would lead you to our corporate WhatsApp. You can talk to us right there and right now. And to get the checklist that we promised, I do believe that the link is going to be dropped to the chat.
Yeah, we just done that.
Yeah, so guys, make sure you download the checklist, because within 48 hours, we're going to close that link. Okay, so go download it and keep it on your computer, on your phone. And it's a very good product. You will like it. And if you guys have the link to the free evaluation, maybe it's not convenient for someone to scan the QR code, drop it to the messenger, to the chat as
Yes.
well, if you can. Someone can just copy it or press on it,
Mm,
and that would do with the checklist, the contact with my company, and the free evaluation. And I do believe that you guys, the next slide is for you, Alina and Anna,
mhm.
for your giveaway.
That's true.
Yeah.
So we've got a list of people who were interested in this fantastic topic, and I believe they are going to take a look into this webinar in reporting later. But still, there are how much? How many?
120, I guess,
Yeah, we've got a list
participants.
of participants, and now we are going to.
Yeah, 120.
Yeah, so I'm just going to spin the wheel. I just put here 120 and
Just
closer. It's like a randomizer,
we're not cheaters.
not cheaters at all. So I'm just yeah, spinning it, and let's see what will be the number. And it's in the mirror probably.
But we
No,
still,
still spinning.
it's, do you see it?
106,
106. Show it closer. Like,
and it's now
yeah, it's
yeah, 106.
106.
Let's figure
Okay,
out who
so
it is. Yeah,
106 is
we are going to. Yeah,
um,
it's a director from Thailand. His name
is
is Rajesh Chada. So Rajesh Chada, our colleagues, is gonna reach out to you and share with you this miraculous voucher
Yeah,
for
I'll just
100.
write down
Yeah,
the name
yes.
to make sure he got us.
So Rajesh could use our voucher for
Anyway, if
buying
you missed this webinar,
posts. Yeah,
we will let you know.
and send you recording. The most valuable viewer is our winner. So congrats to Rajesh
Yeah, get your media coverage.
and your visa as soon as possible. Um, What's next?
Okay, what's next? Um, Next, guys, I need you to fill out the free evaluation form. I already mentioned that as long as you intend to come to the States on a talent visa, that's the first step to immigrate to the US and also start working with my company. So that's what's expected from you right now. So let's switch to the last slide with the yeah, questions, and let's get to the last slide also, while maybe people, our viewers, thinking about questions, and you guys can scan or take a picture of the QR codes for different platforms where we post our content about the visas, the videos. So YouTube and Instagram and TikTok, I think, is a must if you guys are really serious about coming to the US. And of course, for some of you, Facebook and even X Twitter, then you can connect with us there as well.
Great.
So let's see if let's give everyone maybe a minute or two to come up with the questions. I'm done with the
I have
material.
one question from. Okay, so how can individuals effectively pitch their visa-related stories to the media? That was the question from one of our.
Well, it depends what context surrounds this question. If that question comes from my third option to try to approach the media and try to pitch the story, the story, I have no idea. Okay,
Wow.
no idea.
Is it even possible to make
It's
this visa.
possible. It's possible. We have clients who actually said, "Hey, we called the editorial board, and we said, hey, that's who we are. That's the story we have. Do you guys want to see if you want to write anything about us?" I heard the stories like that. I mean, so it's possible, and that's why I mentioned that as one of the ways to get that. However, I think it's long, it's unknown, and it's not effective. Okay, it's yes, it's possible. You may try first to do that and just to see how hard that could be, and let me know how it goes. And if it doesn't work out, then the best way, of course, is use the PR agencies for that.
Yeah, for instance, prnews.io, the best way to get media coverage in
And save your
predictable
time.
terms. Yeah, so reach out to us as well if you need media coverage. We are always open to help.
There you
Thanks a
go.
lot, Stanislav, for your presentation. It was very valuable. I think that we can share the presentation with our attendance, if you don't mind, if it's not much exclusive. Um, so
I
it
don't
could.
I don't see any
Could be
problem. Yes,
for
let's
them.
do.
So
So thank you. It was really eye-opening, and yeah,
All
I think we
right.
don't have any other question. There's thank you from Anna.
thank you for listening. Thank you for spending time with us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
All right,
and good
guys.
luck.
Yes, good luck to everyone, and thank you, Aline and Anna, for organizing this event. And good luck to everyone, guys. I hope you all become U.S. citizens sometimes in the future, but your future begins here. You need to start with the little steps.
Yeah.
So, good luck, everyone, and bye.
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 Thanks a lot. Bye bye.